Fanatical Firebrand, Gitu Lava Runner, Viashino Pyromancer, 4 Crashers, 3 Firebrand Archers, Hazoret, Soulscar, Pomad Courier, Chain Whirler, 4 Shock, 4 Lightning Strike, 3 Flame of Kelt, and 4 Wizards Lightning. Even the sideboard is a copy-paste. They didn't listen to the after-match commentary of the the corrections that they were going to do. So let's see how this develops. Control against Monored, but looks like a control deck that is much better suited to deal with early onslaughts. I think we only saw a white mana in the Tyrant, while Simon is keeping, Monored is keeping their opening 7. Control is mulliganing. I don't know who is the starting player right now. We have one supporter in the chat. Let's go, Joris. Who's supporting for Simon? Monored, Fun Police. There we go. I feel like I've been underusing my my soundboard right now. There we go. 6 cards and a scry we're keeping, and we're going in. We see a pretty important card on the front of his hand there. Can't see the chat anymore. There we go. And we are off. Firebrand Fanatic for Simon opens the game. Opt for Joris. I hate opt. You get 100 other cards. Firebrand Fanatic poking in. No turn 2 play for Simon. Representing Lightning Strike, of course. Probably some extra burn as well. And Joris for now hiding his 3rd color. Lightning Strike to the face. And the Gitu Lava Runner. And a shock to the face. I think Simon counted his burn already and is already going for it. So Joris, no, he needed the shock to give the Gitu Lava Runner haste and +1. That makes sense. Stuck on 2, but that's not really a problem for Monored. If anything, it wants to be stuck on 2. And we have a Sun-Scoured champion. There we go. So, gain them some life. Sizable blocker. According to many, the best answer. Already has 4 mana to recast it next turn and gain 4 life. But the Wizard's Lightning takes care of it. And we have a Soul-Scarred Mage coming out of the woodworks. Drops him to 9. But like I said, he'll be able to replay that champion if he so desires. But 5 mana is Fumigate time. Clears the board, gains 3 life. Cozy at 12 points. As long as there's not a Flame of Kelt turn. But it does look like there's 9 points of burn hiding in Simon's hand. So Joris is not safe, and he should know that if his opponent is not playing lands and not casting anything, he probably only has burn in his hand. Best choice, yep, would be to bring back the champion. Sun-Scorched champion is back, puts him at 16 life. And Simon keeps working that life total. Firebrand Archer for some incremental damage. gets answered with a magma spray from Joris though. So at this point I would say advantage Joris. Fiashino. Pyromancer comes out to keep on the pressure, but gets met with an Essence Scatter from Joris. So we've hit the point where the Monored player's life total is below its opponents. So the age-old saying, once you start defending with Monored, you're probably losing. And he is minimum 5 damage spells off finishing Joris, who's on 13 life. So it's going to be a tall order to get to that. 3-turn clock only. So if he top decks 3 runners and Joris has no interaction, there might still be a possibility. But I think we had a bit of a slip there, somebody looking at an extra card while drawing. The game was over after Fumigate. That's possible, but not entirely true. I mean, Mono Red has a lot of reach. Like a top decked Ancrop Crasher represents 6 points of damage if it goes unchecked. Once because Joris won't have a blocker, and the next time to exert it. So an Ancrop Crusher into removal actually still turns this around. Again, if it's completely unopposed, but of course Joris has cards in hand as well. Joris for top 8. Well, they're on X and 1. If Joris wins this one, he can probably draw into the top 8, but they'll have to check standings to confirm that, of course. So still explaining what exactly happened. And the judges asking some questions just to make sure they understand what's going on and they can apply the correct fix. So yeah, it was accidentally seeing an extra card. So the judge checked to make sure there were no known cards bottom of the library from scry effects, and then instructed the players to give the deck a little shuffle. And just like that, we can go on with the match. That's a cast out. That's actually pretty big in Joris's hand, because that protects him against the draw of Ancrop Crasher. Simon going Hellbent to put Joris at 7. No more surprise there. And shows the land. That's pretty much a concession, because now the clock is faster than any top deck that could have been. Second Sunscorched champion comes out for Joris to add insult to the injury, some salt in the wound of the Mono Red player, and Jeskai Control takes game 1. Now let's have a look at their sideboards. For Jeskai Control for Joris, that's 2 negates, 2 cancels, 2 unwavering initiates. What is unwavering initiate? Unwavering initiate. Wow. I have no idea what matchup this is for. 2 Blazing Volley. Ooh, 2 Gods Pharaohs Faithful. That's a juicy anti-mono red tool, if there ever was one. 2 Ether Swoopers, 1 Salvager of Secrets. Wow, Joris is playing a lot of very uncommon cards. Salvager of Secrets. Ah, that's that one. It's not coming in. Way too slow. Forsake the Worldly and Blessed Light. So we're probably going to... we're definitely seeing the God's Pharaoh's Faithfuls. And apparently he's putting in a third card as well. Maybe Forsake the Worldly to get rid of a Flame of Celts. No, he's bringing in more. Okay, interesting. Maybe the negates. Those are pretty good as well on the play. On the draw, sorry. And then stock Monored has Blazing Volley, Built to Smash, Smelt, Blur of Blades, Act of Treason, and Open Fire. Not sure what they bring in here. I guess Built to Smash and Open Fire. But other than that, it doesn't really have anything to drastically change the dynamics of the match here. Where Joris has quite the swath of options. Beautiful word, swath. Stepped away for a second. Did Joris win game 1? Yes, Slacker. Joris pushed his second Sunscourge champion while Simon... well, his only out at that point was drawing 3 consecutive 3-point burn spells, and that didn't happen since they only have 8 and he already played 3. It was gonna be pretty tight. Okay, shuffling for game 2, and I think that was a mulligan game from Joris as well, if I'm not mistaken. So showing that if you are prepared for mono red, that it's a very manageable threat. Simon didn't really draw that hot, but sometimes the deck just loses to itself a bit as well. Okay, Joris is checking to see if he has sideboarded correctly. And we are off for game 2. For those of you just tuning in, Joris won game 1 with his Jeskai control deck against Simon's Mono Red. It's funny how I've been saying for a while that Opt and Anticipate are the most undervalued, underplayed cards in the format, and to see him playing some of them now. Yes, yeah, 2 Opts. And very little lands that come into play tapped, it seems. 2 Highland Lakes, 1 Stone Quarry, 1 Meandering River, and 4 Evolving, also 8 still. So that means he has 10 things to do on turn 1, not counting Cast Out cycling and Hieroglyphic cycling. Otherwise it gives him 15, so... I think it's a sign of a well-designed deck if you have more than 11 plays on turn 1. Okay, Firebrand Archer, Fanatic, no. Fire Fanatic, Fanatical Firebrand, there we go. Again, Meandering River for a Joris and a Viashino. Pyro for Simon. That gets taken care of with a Blazing Volley just to get rid of a single card. This illustrates how serious Joris is taking this matchup to me. It being a sorcery, just having the density of using your mana constantly. Opt for him. Taking a while to think about his decision here. Looks like it's not as straightforward as you'd expect. Excuse me. It finally chooses, and we have a Gitu Lava Runner as a follow-up. Simon developing quite strongly this time. We have Syncopate hiding in Joris' hand together with a Magma Spray. Spray takes care of that Viashino. And this makes me think back to the run amoks that Kenneth was running, actually, because those has such a big impact on exactly these turns where it counters a removal spell and pushes through extra damage. Wait, that's a second Meandering River? Oh, there's 2 Meandering Rivers, yeah. Yeah, nice deck list as well. Cycles the Hieroglyphic Illuminations. So again, smoothing out his actions, using his mana to stay on top of what's going on. Ancrop Crasher will get syncopated. Such a strong tool that was added to the control arsenal with Dominaria. Now we have a Fight with Fire hiding in Joris' hand. Cast out a bunch of answers. Quite expensive answers though. And a second Gitu Lava Runner. Still no 2 spells in the graveyard. For Simon, still no 2/2 hastes for free. Joris almost flicking 2 cards at the same time as well. Is drawing quite a few lands here. Fight with Fire. What Joris' life total is dwindling through all of this. It's left with only 7 lives at this point, or reaching a point where he might have to cast out or settle the wreckage for just the Gitu Lava Runner. Yeah, going for the face. Settle our cast out. So this makes the Gitu Lava Runner a 2/2 and a 2-turn clock. He decides to go for settle. Missteps there, I think. He could have kept white mana open just to threaten Gideon's Reproach on top of whatever he's representing here. So Joris now at 4 and doesn't have a clock. So this is the position that Monored puts you in. It's just top deck's in a gate. That's pretty important. So Simon just, all he needs to do now is play draw go until he has a fistful of burn and try to finish Joris off whenever he taps lower. There was another 2 land. Joris getting pretty flooded here. But then there's the Sun Scorch champion. Simon just drawing has a land and a Blur of Blades. And that gets negated. So as much as it doesn't seem like it, it is Joris who's on a clock. He needs 9 turns to kill Simon like this, and the Blur would have turned that into 18. In 18 turns he is going lethal. Joris here choosing not to cast out the Lava Runner, which has him dying to any 2 removal spells rather than 2 3-point removal spells. which I think is... now he can't attack with the Sun Scourge, so this is just giving Simon more turns to draw into something. I think you need to cast out the Lava Runner here and just try and finish Simon off. Fumigate and recasting as a 4/4 the Sun Scourge champion is a plan as well, of course. This puts him back to 6 and immediately puts him to 10 and puts him with a 4/4, but he's still, yeah. Then replaying, yep, discard a land and still has 2 mana up to threaten Gideon's Reproach, negate. Wizard's Lightning to the face puts him to 7. And it's still 5 attacks to kill Simon. So almost any 3 burn spells here are enough for Simon to snatch a game win. 10. Sander the Quick in the meantime came to confirm that he made it into the top 8. Shock puts Joris down to 5. As Simon has 3 draw steps to get to lethal. Firebrand Archer gets Essence Archer Fire Fanatical Firebrand gets Essence scattered. 2 more turns. I think that's Shock and Wizard's Lightning in hand. Yep. 3 Wizard's Lightning. And scoops him up. Yep, that's a 1-1. I have the feeling that that Joris hesitated a bit too long, stopped attacking with the Sun Scourge champion for too long. Apparently we have a few dropped frames. I hope the quality of the stream didn't get impacted too much there. But it's something that happens. Okay, so 1-1. It looked pretty good for Joris, but this is just how this matchup develops. This is, you're constantly dealing with the threats, but at the end of turn 5, turn 6, you still find yourself in single digits, and at that point, sure, you get control of the board, but then they just go like, throw this at your face, throw this at your face, throw this at your face, and there's only so many syncopates and negates that you're playing, and for this reason syncopate is actually pretty good, even though that in this scenario they'll usually have a bunch of mana open, and quite frankly you're on an unknown invisible clock where if they draw enough burn spells you just die. And you can deal with the creatures with removal and essence scatter and cast outs and whatnot, but spells you need to deal with as they happen. So suddenly it's just over. Both players keep their opening 7 and we are off for game 3. Turn 1 play. No turn 1 play. I'm confused. He could have played the Gitu Lava Runner here and chose not to. And honestly I have no idea why not. Viashino Pyromancer gets stopped with an Essence Scatter. And we have a Firebrand Archer. Such an innocuous little creature that threatens so much. And we get, in response, we get a shock with a ping from the Firebrand Archer to the face, squeezing the advantage here. Ooh. So a Flame of Keld for Simon. But first we have an Uncrop Crasher. Which also gets Essence Scattered. So Joris quite firmly and comfortably in control here. Still at 17, nowhere near that point that I just described, where on turn 5 you're suddenly on single digits. And this is the fight, this is the big difference between Joris's control deck and the blue-black control decks, because the blue-black control decks, they play Dusk Legion Zealot, they play Sailor of Means, and those cards just allow you to Uncrop Crasher around them or remove an attack anyway. Yeah, this time Joris not afraid to cast out for a single target. And is going face again. It's because he's holding the Flame of Kelt right now. Flame of Kelt gets negated. And that was pretty much the last hope for Simon at this point. As we see Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, enter the fray for Joris. And making things look ever more dire. It's unfortunate he didn't get to match all his lands. That one normal plains there. End of turn, Teferi taps 2 lands, gets his 3 colors available with his opponent in top deck mode, is at 12 with the Teferi. And Simon doesn't even want to represent that he's sandbagging anything. Joris still doesn't have a clock, like he can draw all the cards he wants. Teferi's emblem is at 8, he's at 6 currently. Flame of Kelt, awesome top deck, but Joris has a suit of removal already. I think he has just enough to syncopate this. Yep. But see, these are the comeback tools that can finish off a player above 10 life even. Though unlikely. Yeah, God Pharaoh's Faithful. Pretty much signing the end here. From now on, every interaction will also gain Joris life. Draw some cards, gain a life. Counter a spell, gain a life. Draw some more cards, gain a life. A second God Pharaoh's Faithful. Still no clock to finish the game, but at this rate he will cushion himself to be as impervious as possible. A Blessed Light there in his hand. As the Fury ticks up to 9 or 8. Not sure anymore. But at this point it's academic. We'll see Joris with Eskai control go to 4-1 against Simon de Klerk on Monored. Unless something really crazy happens here. I think actually this card, this God Pharaoh's Faithful, is the reason why you would give up black in your control deck. Glimmer of Genius. In the meantime, Teferi has been ulted, so that means whenever Joris draws a card, he gets to exile a permanent on Simon's side. It looks like this will end with Simon having 0 permanence. Shock on Teferi. Gets rid of Teferi. So the exiling will happen a little slower. And then finally a clock. 10 turns, Sunscorch, champion. It could end soonish. We also have a fight with fire. It does 10 damage when kicked. Lightning strike you all the way down to 15. Ah, almost dead, Joris. In the meantime, on the inside, Joris is just going like...
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Dollar, dollar.
Joris on 4-1 might or should even be able to draw into the top 8, but we won't know that for sure until the next round rolls around. Fiery Cannonade. For Joris to clean up that Viashino Pyromancer. I think Joris might be missing some draw triggers. Yeah, exiles that with the trigger. And we have the fight with fire, putting him down to 4. Oh yeah, and I gain 2 life. 2 turn clock. Can you deal 17 damage in 2 turns? Firebrand Archer. It's the tool that gets you there with the Flame of Kelt. Except it gets Essence Scattered. Attack down to 2. And the handshake. Joris wins against Monored. Burn with his Jeskai control deck.